What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about some British words that baffle Americans. Well, I'm American and I'm pretty easily baffled, so I thought this would be perfect for me to take a look at. And I'm also just excited to learn about some new British words, maybe expand my vocabulary a little bit. So with that being said, let's take a look.
When I first moved here, one of the words was flannel. Actually, not as in the shirt, as Americans might think. It was the flannel.
I was just about to say flannel. Like a shirt? Like that's a... What is that? That's like a material, like a clothing material that sometimes Americans wear. Like usually it's plaid or something. Flannel means something different in Britain? Is that what we're saying here?
Flannel that we would call, or that Americans would call, washcloth, that you wash your body parts with. It was a bit clinical.
What? Wait, what? Flannel in Britain means what we would call a washcloth. I'm trying to make sure I understand this correctly. That is so incredibly random to me. So, washcloth, does that mean anything to British people? Or you just always call it flannel? And flannel is some kind of shirt to us. This is oddly very confusing to me.
I asked your parents, because we lived with Tara's parents for a bit, and I needed to find a flannel, and they looked at me as if I was demanding shirts from them.
Right, there's probably so many funny situations that could happen for a British person in America, or an American person living in Britain, just based on the fact that there seems to be quite a lot of words that, like, both Americans and British people use. It's the same word, but they have different definitions, and it's so incredibly random. Like flannel. Like, I can't even remember the last time I said the word flannel. I guess I'm not a big fan of the shirt, but I suppose in Britain that would be used a bit more, because you might need a flannel, which is a washcloth. We call it a washcloth, because you might need it for, like, bath time or something. Okay, interesting word for us to start with.
But another one, actually, that came up around about the same time was plaster. I'd cut my finger or something like that, and I said, hey, where do you keep the plasters in the house?
Where do you... What? You cut your finger and you need a plaster? Plaster, for me, as an American, that's like something that you use to build your wall with, or patch up your wall. Like plaster? I don't know, that's like a building material or something, but what does it mean to put it on your finger? Or maybe... Because that would not be a good thing to do. That would not be wise to do for the plaster that I'm thinking of.
House, and they looked at me again as if I was a terrorist. So what? But what do we call them here again?
Band-Aids.
Band-Aids, yeah. Like,
Band-Aid? It's a Band-Aid? I can't believe that. That is actually genuinely shocking to me. Like, that is a very, very common word in America. Not that that means everyone in the world should use it or has to use it. Very clearly they don't, but I just thought Band-Aid was like a really, really... Well, it's a popular brand, isn't it? And it's like... It's a pretty important object. I think that's what I'm really shocked about. It's pretty important. Like, if you need a Band-Aid or excuse me, a plaster... you need to be able to communicate that, because maybe your finger is bleeding and you're gushing out blood, and somehow a little plaster or Band-Aid is going to stop that. But I thought Band-Aid was a universal term, I guess. I've never heard this before. I've also never heard it in any sort of British, like, movie or show from any British person ever. In any video or content that I've ever seen, I've never heard the word plaster used in this way. And I don't know. I guess that just kind of surprises me. It's what we call a band-aid. Do British people ever use the word band-aid? I I thought that was almost like the name of the brand as well, kind of like a Kleenex for a tissue. I don't know.
For me, Band-Aid is the Bob Geldof band that was formed in the 80s to save poverty in
What?
Africa or to prevent it. And so I
What?
was sort of bewildered myself when they came back at me with that. So it's a two-way street. It's not just the Americans being bewildered by me, more actually me being bewildered by them.
No kidding. No kidding. It really is a two-way street. Is this like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like maybe British people consume or are exposed to more American culture than us Americans are exposed to British culture. So maybe there are Brits out there who are familiar with the term Band-Aid. He was not familiar with it. I'm shocked. He had to literally live in America to learn about the Band-Aid. And I mean, I guess that makes sense because I've never heard of plaster and it just works both ways. What? What is going on?
The word rubbish actually occasionally causes confusion. Not so
Rubbish. Rubbish is a word that a lot of Americans are actually pretty familiar with as far as British words go. Rubbish means like what we would call trash or garbage, right?
so much when I use it to mean trash.
Yeah.
But when I say that such and such is rubbish, that thing over there, that's rubbish.
Oh.
Actually, I was pointing at our lovely shelf. It's actually a nice shelf.
Oh, when you say something is rubbish, I don't know why I know this, but I know that that is a bad thing. I know that's a British phrase. When something is rubbish, that means it's bad. I guess like it's kind of like trash or garbage. It's bad. And I actually think most Americans, or at least many Americans, are familiar with this term, rubbish, and using it like that. We never say rubbish. We never use the word. It's the forbidden word. I don't know why we don't use it, but we all like have heard it. So this one probably wouldn't baffle most Americans, I would actually say.
The idea, I think, throws people off because I think they think when I point to something and say, that thing's rubbish, they believe, I think, Americans think I'm saying that it literally is trash and needs to be put in the bin.
The bin. There's another one. The bin. We never say the bin. But I know, I think that means trash can. So he's saying when he calls something rubbish, us Americans take it very literally, and we're like, oh, that's the British word for trash or garbage. That is garbage. Whereas it's more like metaphorical. It's like that thing is rubbish. That thing stinks. It's bad. It's no good. Not that you literally want to throw it out into the bin, right?
Trash can. Another one, and this is quite topical for the summer, I suppose,
Okay.
despite the weather we've had in Indiana. Suntan lotion. People look at me and not know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
What do you think I mean when I say those phrases?
Well, here we have a distinction between suntan lotion and sunburn prevention lotion, which is...
Yeah.
Okay, I think I know what we're saying here. Now, funny enough, I have heard the phrase suntan lotion. Usually, Americans say sunscreen or sunblock. Usually sunblock, but I want to say this is almost like an older thing. Like this used to be more of a popular word in America, and you don't hear it anymore, suntan lotion, because it almost, I can see where it would confuse Americans, especially younger Americans. It sounds like a product that you use to try to get a tan. Like the purpose of it is to help your body get a tan. Suntan lotion, just the wording. If you're being literal. I know that means sunscreen. But I never used the phrase suntan lotion. Is that actually more popular in Britain? To say suntan lotion, not sunscreen. I did not know that.
Completely different thing that most people use, so it's sunscreen, right?
Yeah.
Whereas suntan lotion is what you rub on yourself to keep yourself from getting too tanned, I guess, at a tanning salon.
Which makes sense. And now
Yeah, like I'm gonna fight for this one a little bit. Sunscreen is like it's screening you from the sun. It's a screen. It's a shield. Maybe it should be sun shield. Sunscreen. It screens you from the sun. Suntan lotion it sounds like it's trying to help you get a tan or something, but I think a lot of Americans would definitely understand what you're saying by suntan lotion, but most Americans still wouldn't like use that as their preferred word. This is an interesting one.
I think about it, I can't decide whether suntan lotion is a sort of generic British term or if that's just my parents.
Huh.
I think it's my parents.
Interesting. Yeah, for sure. Like, definitely. We used to, when I was a child growing up, we used to say that around the house. Like, plenty of times. Suntan lotion. I remember that. I wonder if this is just like a generational thing more than a British American thing. I don't know.
They just say that, and I've picked it up.
Well, obviously, pag.
Pag? Oh, pag. Yeah.
Pag. I don't know. I don't even like the way it comes out of my mouth. Pag. Well, I've never heard this word. I don't know. It's actually kind of fun to say when pag. I don't know if I love it or hate it. Well, what does this possibly mean?
Well, pag's an odd one because I think that's kind of more of a Grimsby's where I'm from, and I think that's more of a Grimsby term. It means to ride on the back of a bike with somebody. I think some people call it a backy.
Oh, what? A backy? A pag and a backy? What is this? So this could be a British thing, or this could be like a certain region of Britain that he specifically grew up in. Or there's a dedicated word to when you're riding on the back of a bike with someone else driving the bike. That like doesn't happen enough for there to be a dedicated word, at least that I know of in American English. There's no word for this.
In England. Hey, do you want a backy?
A backy?
No, I want a pag, thank you. People think it sounds
I've never heard of backy or pag before. I didn't know there was a word for this.
stupid. Even in England, people don't know what it means. I'm not sure I ever used that term yet, but I do use the term mardy, as in I'm very grumpy today. I'm feeling mardy.
What is this, maudie? Am I saying this correctly? How do you say I love the ones where these are just words I've never heard before in my entire life. It's either like there's words that both Americans and British people use and they have different definitions, or even more fun, these words that I've just never heard in my entire existence. Maudie?
I'm feeling mardy. But mardy is barely used outside of that part of the north as well, I think. I believe it's used in and around Lincolnshire and maybe Yorkshire, and then not really known elsewhere.
So there's actually regional words within Britain that are only used in certain areas of Britain. We're getting very specific now. Does that mean people in like the South wouldn't know what a maudie is, I guess?
Unless I'm wrong about that, you can correct me if I am. I did touch on this one in a previous video, but the term stroking, as in stroking the dog, which again does sound borderline illegal, and I will admit that.
Oh, what? What are we talking about right now? Well, he seems to know that's not good. You don't want to stroke the dog. What?
Having moved here. But you guys, Americans, say petting the dog, which actually my mother later pointed out after watching that previous video.
Yeah. Yes, okay. You say stroking instead of petting. I mean, in defense of the British word or use of the word stroking, you do more of a stroking motion to a dog. It makes more sense. That's what you do. You stroke them. Petting is like this motion, like almost like slapping, I'm petting. But especially for us Americans, stroking the dog sounds very bad, very, very wrong. You're going to go to jail for that. Even if the word itself is probably more accurate by definition. stroking motion, but is that what you usually say in Britain? Not petting. Oh, I'm a bit torn on this one.
Video. That also sounds a little illegal because petting, at least where I'm from, means kissing. When you go into the swimming pools, there'll be signs that say no petting.
Oh, this goes both ways. See, silly me. I was just thinking about the American perception of this. That's so funny. In Britain, it would be perceived very, very badly if you were petting the dog, because it means kissing the dog. You just can't win. Okay, I guess the only real answer is use the word that is accepted in your culture. Whether that's petting in America or stroking in Britain. Okay, got it.
As in your, significant other.
We
Or
have that here too.
Exactly. So you have it here, and yet, so each.
Petting? No. I don't know what she means exactly. Do they have no kissing signs at the pool? Not that I've ever seen. And petting does not mean kissing in America. Definitely not.
Each of us has these terms for being affectionate toward animals that take it a little too far.
You don't kiss your dog?
I do
Right.
kiss my dog. I don't kiss my dog in the French way.
Oh boy.
Well, I don't even have a dog.
Wait, don't have. Whose dog is it then?
I have cats. So where did that come from? But yeah, I certainly don't. What do you mean some people do? Who kisses dogs in the French way?
Okay.
Oh, right.
Okay, moving along.
This is a strange video so far.
We've gone a little too far.
We should read a dictionary of British English or something.
Uh,
If in doubt, turn to this lovely book.
at Anglotopia's Dictionary of British English. British slang from A to Z. Even the Z. We don't even say Z. Is that on purpose? Because we say Z, not Z. Anglotopia's Dictionary of British English. Okay.
By Anglotopia. You can get this at Amazon, of course. And let me take a look inside.
Oh,
quickly.
okay.
There are lots of
Interesting.
words in here.
There's a whole dedicated book to British English. Really? That'd actually be useful for Americans who are visiting Britain, actually, because some of these words, it actually matters, if you know them or not. Some of them are inconsequential, but the plaster, if you need a Band-Aid, if you're hurt, or if you don't want to be petting the dog, there's some serious miscommunications that could happen. So maybe it's good that there's a book on this.
What do I say? I'm trying to think. Oh, I did say that once. This one here. Lost the plot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I say that
Lost
all
the
the
plot.
time now, and I think some people don't understand what I mean.
Lost the plot? That's actually a phrase that's become kind of popular in America. Kind of recently, actually. I don't know if they're talking about the same usage. Lost the plot. If you say, he lost the plot, that means they have misunderstood, they don't understand, they're saying something completely wrong, completely backwards. They've lost the plot. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Well,
Thankfully, I'm around teachers all day, so they kind of get it just
because they've read Harry
by
Potter.
association.
Huh?
Yeah.
Of just understanding
What does this mean in British English?
what losing the plot literally means.
Yeah, it's someone who's gone mad. I've lost the plot. And
Someone who's gone mad. No, I've never really heard it like that. I mean, it's kind of similar. Someone who's gone crazy? Someone who's gone mad? That's kind of how it's used in America. This isn't the most common phrase, honestly, but you see it on the internet a bit and stuff, and it's really someone who has terribly misunderstood something or saying something totally wrong, which is kind of like being mad or crazy, I guess. Sort of similar.
I write for that. Chap. Chap's not one, isn't it, for people? Yeah, you're a fine, upstanding chap.
Chap. Chap is a funny one, because it's one of those stereotypical British words. Like when Americans think of British words or British culture, that's like one of the first words we go to. Like, oh, hey, chap. We do not use that word here in America, ever, in a serious way. But we do know of it. Like, we are familiar with this word, and I don't know, what's it mean? Like, not your friend, but your acquaintance? Like, you're being friendly. It's like almost like calling someone dude, but not really. It's like, hey, chap, or he's a nice chap. Just like guy or person, or what would British people say is the definition of chap, actually?
Because that's how I talk.
Chat.
You know, chat.
Pally?
Actually, I do remember. I do remember one instance when I used to work for Indianapolis Fringe back in the day. There was a performer who'd come over from the East Coast, and I asked him, "So are you part of the Fringe Festival?" And he had to ask me again and again, "Did you just say French Festival?" Oh, that was a good one. This one did.
Did he not just say French Festival? I'm a little confused. And I also didn't get super clarity on what chap means, but I think most Americans have like a vague idea of chap.
It used to confuse the wife when we'd be talking about a food that's been in the fridge a little too long, and I'd ask her, "Has it gone off?" And she wouldn't know what I meant.
Can I again use that one?
Has it gone off? Yeah, I would have no idea what you mean. That is a perfect one. That absolutely baffles me. That would totally confuse me. Now I know, thank goodness, but if I was just hearing that for the first time ever, has it gone off? Is that what he said?
I'd ask her, "Has it gone off?"
Has it gone off? I would think, has something turned off? Have we lost power? Or it means, has something expired? In America, we would say, has it gone bad? Do you ever say that in Britain at all? Is that an American way of saying it? We'd say, has it gone bad? British people would say, has it gone off? It's sort of close. It's sort of similar, but bad means bad. But off, has it gone off? I don't know about that one. That's confusing to me. Like, has the cheese turned off? I don't know. Is it powered by electricity? What? I don't get it.
And she wouldn't know what I meant.
And I again use that all the time now, and people don't understand.
Ah, yes.
Indoctrinated her into the. Speaking of going off, we're going to go off now. Not in that way. I have showered today.
Okay, very good. I think that's the end of it. That was really fun. That was quite entertaining for me. This was by Lost in the Pond, and I gotta give it a like. I did like that quite a bit. Quite a few words that are genuinely baffling. And it's also baffling to me how many, like, extra words and phrases that seem to exist in Britain. It's kind of cool. It's like British people have a whole bunch of extra, like, vocabulary to use. So it's actually really fun for me to kind of learn some of these new words. I don't know, maybe I can try to incorporate this into my vocabulary, but then no one will understand what I'm saying, especially if I'm stroking the dog. Then I'm just going to end up in jail. Like, so I will use this newfound power vocabulary responsibly, I swear. But I did enjoy this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like, or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these words that baffle Americans, or any other words that you think baffle Americans. That'd be fun to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain and British culture and learning things about Britain for the first time, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.